blessings, love, and light. So honored and graced that you're here in this now moment. Thank you so much for being here. Uh, it's just an honor. So today I'd like to discuss a little bit about efficiency being initiated by being graceful. So living gracefully opens up the law of efficiency, basically. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've done a video. I think it's been a couple weeks. There's been a lot of gracing to learn, and what I really wanted to go into here is like finding grace by surrendering our mind's expectations. Okay, so I have certain expectations that I make certain videos every week and such and such and such, but being that I flow with intuition, intuitiveness, and by the spirit when it guides me, if it's not there to give, then it's not there. And so there's a little bit of like, oh, I need to such and such. Well, it wasn't there, the time wasn't there. There was other things, other events, holidays, different things like that. We have a guest coming, and my son on the weekends and stuff like that. So basically it's balancing out and being graceful in the balance. So I'm back on and it feels so good to be back. But after, of course, channeling the message, I always make sure to center, come to what I call 0-point focus, center, to be able to get a message that, is going to be effective for someone. So the law of efficiency. So by being graceful about the timing and allowing and surrendering the expectations to go away, will lead into the bridge of true authentic messaging, true authentic messages coming through, which is really cool. So just being graceful, just like basically chilling out with the expectations. Like, yes, it's good to set and prioritize and focus and set goals. I definitely am working more and more on that, as far as like we're getting up at 3 and 4 in the morning to do our devotion, meditation early, so that so much more time opens up through the day, and that we can always nap later if we're tired, but just kind of getting that discipline going. And it's a graceful process getting that. So one day we're up at 3:30, the next day we're up at 10:30. So we're really, but instead of beating ourselves up, it's like, okay, our bodies were tired. It's okay being graceful, but also staying focused. Like, that doesn't mean that like we're giving up or anything. When I say surrender, I don't mean like give up and let yourself completely go to where nothing gets accomplished. That's not the law of efficiency that I'm referring to. What I mean by grace is that when the stressors are calmed down and the expectations are lowered, you can see the divine will through the process by being able to be more in tune to following the intuitive calling, okay? So like I felt an intuitive calling like right before I did this video to do a video. My body was starting to feel like kind of heavy, like that feeling like, oh, another week, it's just not gonna happen, and that wasn't being graceful. So I was like, whoa, this is just like this, like, it's okay that you didn't have it for a couple weeks because you've had profound changes and stuff. So it's just kind of like gracing myself, like, it's okay, but the time is now to make a video. So I went into a meditation to do the channeling for the message, and I got a lot about going through the dark night of the soul, initiation of fire, transforming the darkness to light. I mean, just a whole lot. And that requires grace, because a part of me is like, my gosh, I thought I already got through all of this stuff, because I didn't even notice that stuff was happening still. Like, I've just been so immersed in the grace of alchemy, and just like so inspired in making everything, our homemade products, our foods, everything from scratch, and so focused on getting the discipline of getting up early and being able to flow into the yoga routine and meditation in the morning, and gratitude journals, which we always do, but just more focused when it's early in the morning for some reason, and just like immersed in what I'm doing, that I didn't notice that I was still transmuting all of this stuff. So it's efficient when you're graced. Like, if you're like, oh no, I'm transmuting this stuff, this unconscious junk is coming up, this karma is being cleansed, this is really exhausting, then it just keeps becoming that, and it doesn't really become efficient. But when you're so immersed in just the acceptance of it without the attachment, like I wasn't attached to like whether or not I was transmuting or not anymore. Like, I mean, there was a point where I was like, okay, I've got to focus, I've got to transmute. That was so attached, but I didn't see it at the time. Do you know what I mean? Because it's like, I've got to. I used to say this a lot. I've got to. It's just got this like, I've got to. It's got this kind of clenching thing to it. And when I let that go, it was just like, oh, okay, I'm making this. I've made this here. I'm serving this food from scratch. Doing my chores. Organizing. Prioritizing. And just getting immersed in it, I was graced and blessed to not even notice I was still going through an initiation of fire, which basically means purification, transmuting, grounding. It's become so graced that it's natural. And therefore it becomes efficient, because it's not something that is a burden. It's not something that I'm attached to. When's it gonna end? When does it begin? When does it end? It's just like step by step, moment by moment. So you get so much immersed in the grace that you can't even tell that intense things are happening as intense as they are. I mean, like here and there was like a little bump, like, we just worked through it. Like, okay, let's step back, let's smooth this out real quick, and then move forward gracefully and efficiently. And there really hasn't been any like extreme intensities. I really thought I had leveled up. Meanwhile, because of that grace, that surrendering into that graceful efficiency, all this intense stuff was going on. It just wasn't like so attached to like, or my goodness, and now let's go transmute this, and or like wasn't having to, all is well, all is well, all is well. I mean, that's how it has to start sometimes to get to grace. I mean, sometimes you have to really powerfully affirm. You have to really like put initiation in and focused energy to make sure that you're going and practicing grounding techniques. It's just I've gotten into aerial, and that kind of naturally is just like flowing into grace. And so some of the things that have become a graceful, natural sort of groove has been transmuting it without me being attached to it, and therefore it is becoming more efficient, like way more efficient, way more less intense. I mean, the same kind of like intensity of going deep into the subconscious mind and clearing out all this stuff. Especially, I mean, if anyone's aware, we're going into 2020, there was the 12-12, it's supposed to be this big gateway of like a lot of stuff being transmuted. And of course I was aware of that, but I just wasn't really attached to it. I just, we just decided to celebrate by having a beautiful dinner outside on the deck, and like listening to high vibrational music and just praising the divine and just giving gratitude, overwhelmed in gratitude, which is being immersed by grace. So there's so much gratitude, there's so much acceptance, there's so much being in the present moment that it is so graced that it is the gift of efficiency. You know, it's just graced right into efficiently transmuting without even having to struggle. So basically the message is work smarter, not harder. So the more gracefully we approach our spiritual path, the more smooth it is. Even if like the most chaotic things are going on around you, when you're so centered, like I'm like in total shock. Like, wow, I didn't even notice that that much intense stuff was being transmuted, because it's no longer like a burden. It's not a problem. It's, you know, it's not like, when does this end? You know, when does this end? It's just, it's like, I accept it. It's a part of the path. Like, your stuff will come up, you smooth it out, keep going, you honor it, stay grateful, stay graceful, and it just all works out. It's so powerful. It's really, really powerful. So being able to be immersed in grace, things just work out, you know, more than I even realize. See, that's why I like doing these videos, because it helps me to help share the message, to do a meditation and get the message before I do the video, because then I get clarity as to, you know, wow, I didn't even, you know, like, this is like a total whoa moment for me. Like, I didn't even know I've become so graceful, and things are efficiently working out. I mean, it just kind of reminds me of like last night. Like, I just decided, okay, a more effective way to be able to make videos on, you know, daily or weekly basis is to have more of the foods from scratch and prep done, which 10 years ago I'd have been like, I ain't never prepping my food, you know, because it just seemed too far in advance. But like, in all honesty, it's graceful. I got into this graceful, concentrated flow. So what I thought would take 8 hours of, you know, 8 hours of just like, oh, I've got to focus, spending so much time being so attached to the fact that you need to focus, it drains energy. So just being focused and just being in the grace of it. I prep like the whole week's, you know, like main dishes. Like, I've dinners prepped. You know, I went in, I made breakfast this morning, but like, I've got stuff I froze and just things so that like a day that, you know, I'm feeling a calling to do a video or something, I don't need to worry about, you know, because I'm making everything from scratch. Like, our almond milks just from the almonds, you know, it's a whole process, and squeezing the milk out, all this stuff. And instead of being like, oh my goodness, there's so much, I just feel so graceful in it and just connected to every now moment that I don't notice that it's like hard or, you know, intense or anything. To me, it's just staying present in the chores. Like, you just focus on, or like on your task or whatever it is, you just focus gracefully, presently in that now moment, and don't worry about all the other things that you want to address, because that's the part that drains energy and makes it harder, is when you get so distracted by the 50,000 things that you need to do. But if you can just kind of prioritize and focus in grace in that present moment, you find like the impossible becomes possible. Like, 2 to 3 hours later, I look and I'm like, whoa, I have a ton of meals prepped. Almond milk is made. I'm getting ready to make tofu today, which is really cool, homemade tofu. And, you know, dinner's prepped. So like, if I make the tofu today, it's okay. If not, I can make it in the morning and it's still like, you know, all this other stuff is prepped. And just using that as an example, because I was immersed in the grace and it became so efficient. Like, in 3 hours, I was doing things that would have taken me a week worth of time, because it was so focused. I wasn't like, oh, but then what about this and what about this, and I also got to clean and I also got to do this. So now it's like, whoa, and then that moment just hit me right before this video, like that intuition, like, okay, now it's time. And so I graced myself into meditation where this message came through, and it's so effective. So here's the video, you know, and it's wonderful, and I'm so honored and graced to be here And, you know, working smarter, not harder, is, you know, walking the path of grace leads to efficiency in the most beautiful, expansive way. And it does have a lot to do with surrendering the ego. The mind's going to tell you things like it has to be done this way, or things can't possibly be done like that, a week's worth in 3 hours. I mean, I wasn't thinking whether it could or couldn't. That's my point. I was just so immersed in grace in that moment that I just stayed so focused, and I was like, oh, well, I can make this out of that and this out of that. And out of batches, I made different meals, and, you know, just add a little bit more and then prep a little here, and here's, oh, clean this jar, and then boom, there it is, stuff frozen, stuff in the refrigerator. Boom. Wow. So much time has just opened up for videos, and for what I also want to make is like skincare products. So I'm making lotions and soaps and shampoos and conditioners. So now I've opened up this whole week for the other things to be efficiently done by being graced, you know, by being present and gracefully present. Everything is always working out. It's so wonderful and so beautiful, and I just wanted to share that message, that just be graceful, be patient with yourself, honor yourself in every now moment, and just step by step, you know, things will definitely work out if you stay focused and prioritize in a focused, graceful way, instead of, you know, I gotta, because that will take your energy, you know. So any kind of stressor will exhaust the energy. So if you can stay in grace, whew, efficiency. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so graced and honored and blessed and grateful. Thank you, thank you. Namaste. And of course, if you like this video, feel free to hit like. If you like our channel, feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to leave a comment about anything, we'd love to hear it. Thank you so much, and many blessings.